hope, let your strength be found.
Yes, hey everybody. Hello. Welcome back to Warm Embers Season 3. I am just so grateful today to have these beautiful powerhouses, Indigenous designers here. So we have Sunrose Iron Shell, Kayla Looking Horse, Anna Fry from Oak Hill. So the talent, I have been following them on social media, and I love the vibe they bring, the questions they pose to their viewers, their audience, their customers. And it's just, I know that they're going to bring great dialogue. And I just wanted to talk about the state of Indigenous fashion today. So we could talk polyester, we can talk our passion for fashion, Pendleton print, so that's what we're doing here today. So I'm going to turn it over and go to Sun if you want to do your intro, and we're going to go around.
All right, well, hello everyone. Tate ang dopa na jibia and show. And my name is Sunrose Iron Shell. I'm Sichongu in Oglala, Lakota. I'm a direct descendant from Chief Iron Shell, who's one of the signatory chiefs for the Fort Laramie Treaty. So I feel a lot of pressure there, which also kind of educates my brand and where I go. So I have a bachelor's in museum studies. So I'm very passionate about the NAGPR law and reclaiming everything. And I also have a bachelor's of fine arts from the Institute of American Indian Arts. And I initially went there for fashion, like specifically for fashion. And they had just moved their campus from downtown Santa Fe to the campus that they have now, and completely had no fashion program while I was there. And I was always in my painting class, when are we going to do fashion? When are we going to do something fashion? When are we going to bring in? But I was able to meet a lot of designers. And when I graduated, they asked you what you're going to do next. And I said, well, I'm going to be a fashion designer, because that's what I kept kind of wanting. And I almost said it to like spite them, like, oh, you guys gave me a degree in museum studies and you gave me a degree in fine arts, but the degree I wanted was in fashion, from an Indigenous perspective. And so because you didn't offer it, I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. And then because it was IA and so close to Swaya and the Santa Fe, they kind of called me on my bluff. And they were like, okay. And I get a phone call as soon as I graduated, and they were like, so we're going to have a fashion show. It's going to be the first annual fashion show at Sawaya. Would you like to be a part of it and debut your collection? I was like, word. So in 3 months, then I had a fashion collection and kind of just was straight in. So ever since 2012, I've been doing fashion.
Awesome. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing. Kayla?
Takiapi Lapatuki Yuhanchante Westena Bechusapi Wayankila Shunkamaka Yude Imachiapi. I just said I greet you all with a warm, heartfelt handshake. My name is Kayla Wayankila Looking Horse Smith. I'm a member of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, but I also represent the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. I am Hunkpapa, Minikoju, and Itazivko. And I'm based here in Bismarck, North Dakota. However, I do go back and forth to New York as well. And my brand is K.Lookinghorse. So I thank you all for being here.
Thank you. And I know you're being modest because you have also done many fashion shows. So yes. Also, Sun has done a film, so she didn't include that, but let's go on to Anne. Go ahead, do your intro.
Chukma Sahuchifua Anna. My name is Anna. I am a Chickasaw and Choctaw from southern Oklahoma. I am from the Colbert Byers family branch of the Chickasaw tribe, and then Falaya Chita on my Choctaw side. I have been designing pretty much my whole life, but I went into the medical field because of familial pressure. And eventually, because of COVID and everything, I just leapt further into it and decided I don't want to spend the rest of my life doing something I don't want to do, and I want to make pretty clothes and regalia for my people. And so that's what I've been doing since 2022.
Awesome. Okay. So we have tons of talent here, and I just want to jump in. So I have been seeing because I also was environmental for 17 years, and I wanted to stop doing something that I didn't have a passion for. And I've always done art on the side. So I jumped into art. And then I love to sew. I just love the feeling of the sewing, you know, and it just feels so good. And I learned the lazy stitch from my grandma when I was a kid, and I've been sewing ever since. So I've also going into fashion. So I've been kind of like keeping my ears open, like what's going on in the state of Indigenous fashion. And lately I've been seeing a lot of dialogue, a lot of conversation on Facebook, the Facebook drama, no, and then like social media, Instagram, TikTok. I saw some TikToks. I was like, oh my God, they're dragging people. And a lot of it is, I feel, out of lack of knowledge. But there's just so much that we do on the back end as artists that it's easy to see one picture and then somebody could tear it apart 100 different ways, but they don't really see the passion, the artistry, the work that goes into it. And so that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you talented designers so that we can kind of get a peek into it and a peek into what goes into the art, and also just have a conversation so people will be enlightened and have more of an appreciation instead of a quick like, oh, I don't like that and this is why, you know. So I wanted to start with the like the Pendleton. I want to say Pendleton because Pendleton has been known and to steal the designs. More lately, they've been working with Indigenous designers, but prior to that, they built their brand on our, like the Edward Curtis, all those photos, taking the designs that actually had stories and then removing the stories and then creating blankets, and which we in the Native community love the blankets. We always would give the graduation gifts, you know, the robes, and but now we're reclaiming that and reclaiming the stories with eighth generation, Teton. There's some other brands out there, which is beautiful. So I want to have the conversation. So whoever wants to jump in, like, what are your thoughts? Because I was sharing that I see it at the flea markets, the polyester print blankets, you know, like $20 back in the day. And we all gobble it up in the community because it's accessible, right? And we want to have that tie to our community because we say these designs mean a lot to our community. It's not just, oh, we like the way it looks. It actually means something, ties. Maybe there's a story that they say, I know that story, you know. So what are your thoughts? Anybody want to jump in?
I feel like Sunrose wanted to kind of like initiate this.
I had to do some research because definitely, like, as an activist person, it's like, nah, no Pendletons. Like, we ain't doing Pendletons, we're doing star quilts. And then, like, if you want to take it further, like, get into the weeds, it's like, we ain't doing star quilts, we're doing robes, you know, because it's all a new technology to replace an old technology. Because it was robes that we used to give each other, or even go down to Navajo Nation and get the chief blankets. And then, you know, we had those full-on wool blankets. And then I like how you said accessibility, because you see them at the flea markets, and whenever I'm around that type, I joke to my relatives. I'm like, oh yeah, this is my Chinaman cousin. I'll pick up the thing. I'm like, I got a cousin out there in China, and man, look at their artwork. Look at, they're really doing this. Because it's become an aesthetic that we all want. And sometimes I will post pictures on Facebook, and like you'll see that blanket, and I'll get comments like, oh, I got the same blanket. So it's like something where you know, showing love.
Yeah.
But, so Pendleton is a 6th generation family owned company, and it's still owned by the family. So there's a non-native family out there who gains generational wealth off of our designs from going straight to museum collections and copying and doing that. So now they like realize it, and they actually have a new creative director, a new manager, and it's a lady who is outside of the family. So it's been family operated this whole time, and now there's this new management coming in. So I'm interested to see like how much indigenous influence is given back. So I have a few business ideas for them. They could have a Wopila fund. So in our language, we'll do a ceremony in like 4 years, a year, whatever our commitments at. But after that ceremony, whatever you ask for, whatever you get, your blessings, you have to do a thank you, and that's the Wopila. So no wonder we give out so many blankets to help people. And it's like, please support the natives because there's no give back from Pendleton. There's no where you can sign up and I got a naming ceremony, I got a graduation ceremony. I think they should be giving away blankets just as much as we do. So there should be like some kind of fund that you can apply for. And maybe it's like, I'm a teacher and I have these students who never had a star quilt, who've never had an eagle feather, never had a blanket, and I want to honor them. And I think Pendleton should be like, oh yeah, here's 10 blankets. Like, because that's easy to a $1 million corporation who employs 1,000 people and has 36 facilities around the United States and different stuff. So I think in a way it can become like 50% ownership of indigenous people, and then eventually like move to like 75 and then like 100, and they just like step back because they've already gained their generational wealth. Or maybe we help them do something, but it's an aesthetic and we love it. And I'm like, oh, a Pendleton, the Pendleton shirt. Like, it don't have any designs on it or anything. And I'm like, oh, let me grab that. You know, the Cholos had the Pendleton, what is that, button-up shirt that they only button one.
Yeah.
Like that. Like those were Pendletons too. So it's also in different cultures. So it's something that is harmful, was harmful, and they're working on it being unharmful, but I think they could do more.
Yes, I agree. I love that.
To kind of like add to what you're saying, so when we think about it as Indigenous people, we're so familiar with history, repeating itself. And it's kind of like, it kind of sounds to me that you're very open-minded and like, wanting it to shift. And I get that, like when it comes to Pendleton and sustainability, but I thought, and this maybe it was like last year or a year or two ago, there was a lawsuit, and it kind of like it didn't change anything. You know what I mean? Like it didn't change their perspective that what they were doing is stealing, and as Indigenous people, we're very much like non-materialistic when you come from a traditional space and you think about spirituality and that connection. And a lot of it, a lot of it is when you say fashion, we're talking about energy, we're talking about materials. And so when we're looking at it from our perspective, it's like we've given them the opportunity to borrow something, and then now like borrowing became stealing. So then it's like, okay, now what are the consequences? Not consequences, but just how do we look at this in reclaiming something? I think it just goes down to personal value system in a way, because you are choosing to support a company such as Pendleton, or you're choosing to support a brand, any kind of brand. And that's a personal choice, So I don't think there's like a good or a bad. It's always just finding a balance of how we would like to see them move forward and do something, as, giving a Wopila or Wopira. I think that would be amazing. I just don't have any trust personally in a system that is meant to destroy us. So for me, I'm always like on the lookout. I don't personally use Pendleton. I don't. I did one Pendleton dress. It was the collaboration with Lindsay King. That was her signature choice. And so I did that, but it's not my personal choice to use Pendleton. I don't purchase Pendletons. If I do have a Pendleton, it was gifted to me, but it's a personal choice, you know? So I think everybody, um, as long as we continue to share information on something, you know, positive on, oh, we have eighth generation coming up. We have Teton, you know, different other native owned companies that we can support. And I think that's important to kind of like really sharing what options there are to support, you know, and the history behind it.
Yeah, that is great points, both of you. I love this discussion. Anna, do you want to add?
Yeah, so down here in Oklahoma, I got to witness firsthand the backlash that happened with Teton Trading Company being owned by white people and ran by white people.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, because of that and it being native designs and they were directly profiting off of it, they got in a lot of trouble and they had to transfer ownership over to the Delaware tribe. And I worked with the Delaware tribe. They're great. The Lenape, they're wonderful people. And I think the best way moving forward for them to be able to, I guess, make good on appropriating native designs for generations would be to transfer ownership to the tribe that they live closest to.
Mm.
Because it's design and data sovereignty. Those designs do not belong to them, even though they are considered pan-Indian now, they don't belong to them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's
that's
just how I
great.
feel about it.
No, that's a great point because coming from the environmental sector in tribal environmental, we are when I left the space, they were just discussing data sovereignty because so many times we would have non-native people, mainly Illegana, they would be like, we want to work with you guys. We want to work with you guys. Can we come in? We want to volunteer. We want to do this, this, that. And it was because they would come in, do their research, write their paper, present somewhere. People went wild for the information because we have good information, you know, our science is solid. And then they would be presenting and presenting. And then by the 100th time, the tribe they worked with, non-existent in their paper, right? Then all of a sudden, this person is the expert on this subject because they learned it from this tribe, just like the pyramid thing, the needs, it was based on Blackfoot.
Maslow's hierarchy.
Yes. So that was based on Blackfoot traditional knowledge. But today nobody equates those. And so anyways, going back to the design elements. So I think like in my emerging discipline, I go back and forth like this is ceremony, but do we capture it in our design? And if we do that, is it only for Indigenous people or is it for global market? Or do we make sure that they know our story with it? So we're not just like, here's my dress, buy it. But I want to say, here's what I've designed, and this means this to me, and this means this to me, you know, and I'm sharing part of my culture with you. But like ceremony versus date, because I didn't grow up with ceremony, but I did grow up with our traditional daily life stuff. Like, I don't, I can't even think right now, but you know what I mean? Like, I didn't grow up, going to like the NAC or participating in any of that. We were grown, I was raised in church because my grandma was like, this is what we're going to do. But we did butchering of the sheep and had community with my aunties and uncles, and we all did the things, and there was the language. So it's like, as designers, we want to reflect who we are and include it in the design. But how do we differentiate that? And then, so I see some people have like included something that I know is ceremonial, but it's for mass market. But I don't have an opinion on it because they're an artist, right? So I just kind of wanted to have a conversation. Like, what do you guys, are you including your design elements to reflect your background, your story? And is it global or is it for our community?
when you think about, I mean, do you guys think about global? Like we all have the same tools, right? Like we all are afforded the same tools, and our inspiration and our perception is what we perceive to be beautiful, is what I've been taught. And I
Yeah.
feel that it's really important when we're talking about, it's almost like, I mean, I don't personally like to use like the talk of ceremony, because if we want to put it in black and white, there's certain things that, yes, I think it's important to learn about something, but it should not be in black and white to know how to do it. Does that make sense? Like when if we think about ceremonial designs or aesthetic or something, there has to be a sense of integrity and honoring our oral traditions, because like I keep saying, like, history repeats itself. Like we can't give out so much information that it is used against us. And that's kind of a society that we're in, is like it's almost scary to think about, you even us talking about this and expressing our opinion. There's a little bit of like scariness about it, because everybody's very defensive, or has their own, and it's not trying to force our own belief system on anybody. It's just, talking about what it is from our perspective. And it kind of brings up a huge thing for me when you talk about design and materials and indigenous people. It's like we're not trying to make anything good or bad. And when I first started, I was like, oh, wow, it's duality. It is walking in two worlds. It is like I have to think about, how I am traditionally, and then how I have to move, in today's society, Real quick, does Bilagana, is that what she chew? That's the same thing?
Yeah, same
Okay.
thing.
All right. I was thinking about that. I was like, why do I think I know that word? Only word I know.
Oh, it's so interesting hearing y'all say it out loud, because I only hear it typed out. So I've been saying like wasiku and bilagana.
Uh-huh. What she
Our word is nahalo. It means greedy.
Yeah.
They used to say Americana, so like then it turned into Billy Ghana. So like Americana, Billy Ghana. Oh yeah, it's cool.
Uh-huh.
I love
Just
it.
putting them on blast. I mean, I know we all have like allies. We all have, people like, but it's a mentality, right? I mean, it's like,
Yes.
you don't say it as like a
Yes.
skin color or to be hurtful or harmful in any way. I think it comes down to a mentality, because our word, like Biligana, Washichu, and how do you say it again?
Nahalo.
Mahalo. Like a single word means so much. It means like it just means so much. Uh so anyways, I was getting off topic here, but
I'll jump back in because
yeah, take it
so
away.
what I've seen and wait, like because there's this pause because like once you say it, you can't unsay it, and
Yeah.
so like what I'm gonna say is like, and I see native designers doing this, and I might have been a little guilty of part of it. So there's the war paint aspect
Oh,
element
okay.
where we're painting our faces. And when I
Yeah.
first started, I used to do turquoise, like go to Hot Topic, and there's this whole makeup brand called War Paint. I'm like, oh, cool, it's called War Paint. I buy all the colors, and then like I'm just like doing dots down there, just some dots here and there, and like if I had cleavage showing, I'd like do dots down there. It was just dots.
Uh-huh.
And then I've seen how then other designers are like going full force. It's about what you share. So like if we put our circle like specific ceremony paint on and then take it down the runway, to me it's like powwow. I was told whatever you bring to powwow is there for the people and there to share. So if you bring some new style, some new move, don't be like, that's my move, she was using my move, because you brought it to the center to share with the people.
I love that.
And now it's the people's. And so even there's like this thin line of what's ceremony and what's kosher for everybody to share, because all that turns into pan Indian and anybody could put on a jingle dress. They don't have to be Ojibwe. So same thing in the fashion. Anything that's going on the runway, you gotta be okay with somebody from Germany, some hobbyist picking
Uh-huh.
up and taking on. And so with that, and here's where I'm trying to get to, is I do a hard no, period. No eagle feathers on the runway.
Uh-huh.
And I don't even have to explain that because there's a whole federal law that
Yeah.
says you have to be tribally enrolled. So I don't want to put any feathers or like definitely no headdress on the runway, because then they were like, that would low key give somebody the right to be like, oh, well, they sent a ribbon skirt down and the girl was wearing this makeup, so I can do it too. And then we have some non-native person showing up to the powwow or showing up to the event, and then somehow they have an eagle feather, or yeah. So I could see how there's could be some issues with that. And luckily, like, we don't have to create like this mandate. It's already created with the law, being that you have to be a tribal citizen to hold those feathers. So that kind of already protects it. But what I've been seeing is like full on plumes, really, really awesome, badass, like eagle plumes on these young girls. I don't know if they're their own eagle plumes showing up to the runway, but they're definitely wearing plumes on the runway. And I'm like, do you want to be the one to say that? To like
Uh-huh.
approach the designer and be like, hey, like, I get your aesthetic, what you're going for, but like what I see is it could be taken. And yeah, so I don't want to like be that person, be like the
No,
regulator or anything, but I'm also like, if I can't do it, you can't do it.
no, that's anti status coming in, being like, let me drop you some knowledge here. Auntie Sun's gonna come and share something with you. Because I absolutely love that perspective of, if we're going to go into like powwow, that you know that you're sharing off topic that's not on here, it is like this copying, like so and so copied me a lot, and I never get hurt by it or anything, because as an artist I feel like I'm already on to the next design, I'm already on to the next thing, like I'm not continuing to do this one piece over and over and over. And I know as an artist, you, when you begin, you start copying because that's how you learn, and then you create your own style. So it doesn't bother me, because as an artist, it's like the creation comes from here, the inspiration. And so when I share it with the world, it's like here you go, world. And if somebody copies it, it's more of like, oh, they really liked it, you know, but I'm already on to the next design. So I'm not really bound to it, because as a creative, I'm like constantly moving, like, okay, like, and there's also the concept, like ideas come to us and then we create it and then we release it and then we get another idea, you know. So yeah, I just think that's interesting. I love that thought process of like, we're sharing it with the world, now we let it go. But we also need to have the anti moments where we're like, hey, let's talk about this, you know, privately, not on social media blasting people, you know. So Anna, did you want to add anything?
I was just gonna say
Oh,
that.
good.
Go ahead, Anna. Did you want to say?
I just think that when it comes to designs and stuff, the basic rule that we had to deal with involving like screen printing, just from a professional perspective, is the rule of 70/30. So if you're gonna pull inspiration from someone else's design, typically you want to change it at least 70% so that you can't get sued. That's the rule, usually, is what I always went by, because I've pulled inspiration from people. I see inspiration every single day. People get inspired by me. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Mhm.
People have copied me. I'm also fine with that. But what I'm not okay with is people seeing a design and doing it the exact same way and then saying there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
because it's stealing, it's plagiarism.
Mhm. I like that input.
I just want to like add to, I guess, more so what Sunrose was saying in regards to how important it is for us to have a voice on this platform. Because when you think about it, as Indigenous designers, we're using fashion as a way to communicate with the world. So, um, for us to know that we're distinctively different is so important to also um, stay focused on the issue of what is appropriate on the runway and what is not appropriate on the runway. And I think that, we've come into a society where it's so easy for us to like, I know I get emotional, and we all want to like just like emotionally dump on, the world because we feel like what is going on in our head is like valid and true. And this is, how we feel that we don't want to like blast on social media. I think it's important to really have an understanding of what it takes to be brave because a lot of times, like, if you're not brave enough to step into those rooms that maybe like there's 20 people in the room, 15 of them don't like you for whatever reason, but they don't know you. And you just have to like be okay with like not being liked, but we also have to be really careful on just not you know, um, making our own personal choices, like forcing somebody else to believe that. I come from a place of like, for a number of years being bullied, and I feel like I think it's really important to understand like what that is and how we as designers are fueling somebody's energy because when we're making things, we're putting our own energy into it. So there just like is a sense of like not just self-respect, but respect for how we have to break those generational cycles of teaching people to communicate, in person. And I think it's important. I mean, I look at it like I'm a mother of four, and in my own parenting skills, I have to tell them to express themselves. Are you sad? Are you mad? What is it? So the same thing, we have to be able to model what our value system has taught us and how when it comes to runway, like you said, when you put something on the runway, that is for the world to do with whatever. But if you put something on the runway and maybe before you come with like, here's what I want to go. Like I ask my Uncle Orville, I ask my family, I'm like, can I do this? And they'll say no sometimes. I'm like, okay, like I don't be like, what? Why? I'm just like, I don't even question it. I'm like, okay, you said no. Okay. I respect that. So I always double check with myself, my family, like, is this okay? And then maybe before we put it on the runway, maybe like we do an educational piece that explains like, I want to honor, you talk about eagle feathers and you talk about plumes. And I feel like I've been away from my own traditions for a really long time, living on the East Coast and be more like immersed in like a Washichu, like modern space that I am just really like quiet and I really want to learn like what are, where are plumes appropriate? Where are they not appropriate? Even though like we should all know this, but sometimes it's like we have to really remember like it's a reminder, and it's a reminder in a respectful space. I think it's important if we could just talk, like we should make it our responsibility to tell somebody, if we feel differently about how they are approaching, are they designing artistically? I mean, because I thought it was badass to do the war paint. I was thinking of it as like creatively. I'm like, yeah, it's like you're going to war. You're facing the world that was meant to destroy you. So like, I think it's super cool too. And I don't see an issue with like war paint. I think I think that we just have to be brave and express ourselves with with somebody because maybe they don't know, and I'm always reminding like my own family like just be graceful because I know you think I should know these things, but I need to be reminded because maybe it's been a long time. And and we ourselves like can't be like reactive. You know what I mean? Like we can't react like, oh, like I'm mad or I don't like that. And I just like we just got to be centered. I think like our just That's what I'm trying to do is find balance, within my creativity too.
Well, I
So,
think also artistry is the point of sharing, and then good art, I believe, creates dialogue, sparks conversation beyond just viewing that piece, And I think that's what is so great about this. And that was what you're sharing right now. It's just like you want to have this out there, somebody see it, and then later on have a conversation about it. Because the worst thing would be somebody sees your art and just like, and never talks about it or sees it again, right? Because you put so much time and effort into it. And having this dialogue, I think, is really important. So thank you both. Anna too. I don't know where she went to, but and you know what I did see on the Super Bowl? Okay, off topic. Post Malone had a fashion show. Did you guys know this in Paris? No? Okay, so this was last year. And he wore an eagle feather. And I was like,
wait, the Super Bowl last year or this year?
no, he had a fashion show in Paris. And then he had the eagle feather. And I posted, I was like, okay, is Uncle Posty an uncle now who gave him the eagle feather, right? But I was like, but he's in another country, so the law doesn't apply. But then on the Super Bowl, he had it again. Did you guys see that? I was like, that's interesting. So I don't know if it's like,
Shut up. No, I wasn't. I design in a bubble. How do you design? I mean, I feel like I will I'll go on social media, but I'm not like it's like a time stealer for me. I'm like,
yeah,
I would much rather just, you know, scroll a little bit, post and then I can't be on it because then it just like sucks up my time.
yeah, it does go by. I get the little notification. This week you spent uh 8 hours on your phone every day. I'm like, oh my God, telling on me.
Mhm.
But yeah, I create well, I've always loved fashion since like I said, I started sewing Barbie clothes. My grandma taught me the lazy stitch and I used to because we couldn't afford I my mother was having her addiction problem, so I didn't have access to like go shopping and buy clothes and stuff. So my grandma showed me I would use her scraps from her quilting and make little vests and dresses and like that's how I started sewing. And then I did as a teen did regalia and then throughout would do skirts and stuff, did ribbon skirts. And now I'm just like I design based on my own memory and how I feel in my artwork. Like to me, a lot of medicine, constellation, not true, like, because I have like Navajo medicine stuff, but I don't include that. But to me, it's like a example, like a sage piece. But it to me, I feel like that's safe because everybody's familiar, with what sage is, but not the actual plants that are in the mountains and stuff or cedar. I like to use cedar in my designs. But I also like to watch fashion shows from like big fashion houses. Alexander McQueen. I love Rick Owens. I love Simone Rocha. Like I just love these designers because it's like time, the energy, the sewing. I like to look at like how did they construct this? Something with an interesting shape. Yeah, that's how I
We deserve
design.
a fashion show like that. Like we as Indigenous designers deserve a full on like a completely constructed runway, whatever we want. Because we do all these community organized fashion shows and it's cool, it's great. But like to really have a vision and to show like I guess like the shows that's popping up in my head is like DX, something, something DX. They had a full-on car. Like a car came in and the models came out of the car and went down the runway and
Oh,
then got back in these cars. And like so all these cars are really influential in my work with lowriders. So I would like that happened. I was just like, what? Oh my gosh, I love that. Like just show up with like a bunch of lowriders. All the models are coming out of the cars because we're really contemporary. Like
mhm.
and when we show up to spaces and there's like makeup and hair people or like runway coaches and they're not from our native bubble, they have all these expectations of what you want. And
Uh-huh.
so I've come to shows a number of times. Like I have a whole little sheet of like all these pictures that I want now that I just like send right away because I would show up. My brand's called Warrior Status,
Okay.
and I rebranded this past 2 years ago. when I relaunched my clothing line. So now instead of warrior status, I go by stay warrior status. And it's a challenge. It's this psychological headspace that my clothes bring. And whenever I first created it was because of the youth, especially like juvenile detention center youth
Okay.
trying to be gangster. I was like, okay, let me insert some little like culture in with
Uh-huh.
this gangster clothing because when you put something on, you feel a different way and your whole vibe changes. And what we used to do is we used to make shirts for warriors, and then they became the shirt wearers, and then they were the society that so they uplifted, their vibes when they were wearing things like that. So I was like, okay, I want to make clothing that empowers our youth, that maybe they'll think twice before doing something really not of the path. And so I just flat out wanted to put that right out there. Warrior Status. We are the Warrior Status crew. This is a global brand challenging the warriors of the earth to reclaim their status. And in my mind, it's being a water protector. It's being a land defender. It's having clean air. And so, but in the non-native world, when I say warrior status, all of a sudden I'm like fighting. I'm violent. It's a different type of warrior. And it's like there's no like peaceful warrior. I'd rather be the warrior in the garden working on this sovereignty stuff than actually being this violent person. So I'm showing up to places and they're like, oh, braids? You want braids? And I'm like, no, not at all. Not at all. And so I'm automatically just breaking stereotypes there with the name, warrior status and this perception. And so yeah, just
I
trying
mean,
to uplift.
yeah, and you carry a lot with you, you know what I mean? When you have such a strong brand, like when I think about your brand, I think of like, yeah, like very like rough and tough, vibes and I think that's important. And that's why as we are creating our platforms that, share our perspective on design and everything is so important. You know what I mean? We have to take in like psychology, like color psychology. When we're presenting a color, blue, like what kind of emotion does that evoke? Red, like I don't know. I feel like it's important for us to really like utilize all of these mainstream tools and think about like branding. It would be really cool that I know you said like fashion runway. It'd be cool just to see maybe advertising too, taking some time and really making that your brand snippet, how people see it. I know for me, I've done a lot of like elegant dresses and more so like the graceful, romanticized version of Native American, and then you're like the very much like I mean rough and tough, but also it's so important because you're educating the youth, you know what I mean? You're bringing the youth in that have had challenging times and challenging lives. And I think, sharing that story more will help people to understand, how you're like really wanting to like reactivate our societies. I was just thinking about that. I was having that conversation. I'm like, where are our societies? Or what do our societies look like? Our women's societies, our warrior societies. What does it mean to even be a warrior? And that's, and it's one thing like I feel like we just have a huge responsibility to be teachers when we're designers because we can't just design something and be like, oh, it's art, and just throw paint on the canvas and be like, okay, we're done. We literally like think about what does this color mean? What is the story? And that's why we're so like distinctively different. And I think the world has to yeah, see us like really evolve in um like that black and white, the museum. So if we think about like how we want to create our pieces that can withstand time. So I know we wanted to talk about sustainability, and I don't know if you guys have really um, like done any practices within your own space of like what sustainability is. And for me, I've been trying to share that it's important for like circular and for us to be aware of like the the natural leathers and like canvas and denim, like what are natural fibers? What can we do? My recent collection I designed, I manufactured it here in the United States in LA, and we just sourced all the fabric locally, and that's a lot because everything here is so much more. And I know like getting your stuff across the waters is a lot more affordable, but it's also, you don't know the kind of conditions, that it's being produced in. You don't know where the materials are coming from. Um, and it's kind of just like your own, for me personally, I always like want to think about, would I wear this myself? Am I going to have my kids wear this themselves? You know what I mean? Or what? That's kind of how I design. When it comes to like looking at sustainability or what we want to start doing for sustainability. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, there's a huge conversation and topics that are going around with like environmental and everything, right now.
Yeah. So I love that you are bringing up the different fabrics because I think I saw Jenna Lyons. She was on some TV show, but she was the editor for J. Crew for a long time. She's a fashion, just her fashion is just so good. And Washichu, Bilagana lady. And she was doing a little series on breaking down what the fabrics were. Like, what is cashmere? What is linen? How do you take care of this? And I think that is I feel like we need that education in our community space too, because I saw like people complaining, like, I bought this and I washed it once and it was just not even good quality. But my question is like, how did you wash it? Did you wash it with the towels and hot water, and then just threw it in the dryer? Because it's like when we spend money on these things, we make sure that we take good care of it. And then also like breaking down the material. Like if we look at the label, what is viscose? What, like you said, how was this made? A lot of the polyester comes from oil, right? And we're fighting against oil because we don't want that extractive practice. But we've had polyester since like what, the 60s?
Yeah.
And I think the problem is really overconsumption. It's like, yes, let's be mindful. Let's be, like you said, circular in if I have something I outgrew, like I'm not going to just throw it away. I'm going to give it to like a niece or somebody. Like just be mindful of how we take care of our stuff. And going back to how you use the factories in LA or the garment production, that is a whole thing. I don't think people understand getting the patterns made, working with the getting your samples, paying for samples. And what if you didn't even like the samples, then you have to get new samples. And I think just so much goes into running a business, a fashion business, like getting your LLC, doing your taxes, getting an accountant, social media, getting a photographer, getting the models. I mean, I think there's just so much that goes into it on the back end that it's easy to see, oh, this is pretty, it's sustainable. But what does that really mean?
It's refreshing that the audiences are finally wanting it. Because when I first started in 2012, everything was sustainable. Everything was handmade. That was like my mandate of being warrior status. And like also that was like I had did my own elk rawhides. I like scraped the hide and like I did a whole rawhide series. And to me it was very that's part of the warrior status nature of it too. Is not only is it elk hide, and then there's smoked elk hide and like all these real materials, horse hair and things of high vibration. Also like indigenous commerce, like our dentillium shells. So even because I use dentillium shells, now I have to explain so much about dentillium shells. And so back then in 2012, people weren't ready for it. So everything I made was upcycled, 100% cotton. I like because I'm a AIM baby. I already like know the anti-oil. and like know exactly what was oil. So in 2012, I was like very anti-polyester, very anti like getting anything printed unless it was on hemp fabric or with soy inks,
Uh-huh.
plant-based inks. And I did a short series and like nobody bought that. Like nobody wanted it. So now, like it's real refreshing that the conversation is now in like Indian time. I am so late, like with Indian time because I was there and I was going real hard, like real hardcore at everything I was hand printing myself. So it was just like a one woman factory, and I like was just doing everything one of a kind, and like what everybody asks for now. And I would show up to the shows and I'd have all my stuff I never sell, and like would never sell my work because it was too expensive. Like no
Uh-huh.
one wanted to pay $80 for a shirt that I upcycled and screen printed on. But
Yeah.
now they're paying $80 for the polyester printed factory shirt. And I'm just like what gives? Like, are we community made or are we not? Because if I'm community made, then I would be supported and uplifted and my things would be sold. But it's not working out that way. So it's weird. I feel like we're in this like weird space because now I've arrived and I have a collection that I did off a Redbubble,
Uh-huh.
and it's a printed sublimation oil-based thing. Like I finally like bent the knee and was like, all right, I'm gonna do a collection. Everybody wants me to do I'm gonna do it. And
Uh-huh.
then I did it, I presented it, and like I haven't even sold like 50 things. So it is like a social media game because like also now nobody knows about me 10 years later. So everyone's like, who's Sunrose Iron Shell? What is this? Stay away. I have to fight like again just to get back in the scene because I fell off because nobody was really supporting or buying my work. Everything was original. Like I did parfleche belts and all these like parfleche purses and stuff like that, and nobody seen me. So I did other things. I was a high school art teacher and I did Indian market a few times, and I'm also a ledger artist. And so I bring all my ledger stuff, and people would come to the booth and be like, "Where's your fashion? Where's your earrings?" So the next year I brought earrings, and then now I'm like really trying to get back into the fashion scene because I've always also been like encouraged. People are like, "Oh, I remember you did this, and I remember your elk tooth collection and your elk rawhide
Uh-huh.
corsets and like all these really awesome moments." But like TikTok and Facebook and like all these social medias weren't there, and almost like it didn't even exist. So that's like my conundrum too. So I'm late to the show. I'm ready, I'm there, but then it's what the audience wants. So now they want it, so we'll see if people really do buy the my work. Right now I have hemp canvas dresses that I hand painted.
Ooh, okay.
Sure, I love that. Where are you based at? Where?
I'm in Sioux City, Iowa.
Oh, okay. All right. I used to live in Tama, Iowa
Oh yeah, cool.
area. Yeah.
It's Rockies.
Oh my God, I'll have to come. I didn't know. That's so amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And for sure, like just my sisters are always on me about being more transparent on social media and being on social media. And literally, like it is, it's a little bit of a challenge a lot of times. But just staying course on sharing your story, and even bringing up photos of like the stuff that you started making. Because I did the same thing. I mean, I didn't scrape a hide yet. Because can you teach me to do that?
Can we come see you, Simon? Can you host
Yeah.
us?
I have 3 buffalo robes in freezers right now, so like I need help.
Oh my God, I'm coming over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I somebody said they had some buffalo robes in the freezer, and if I wanted to start learning to do that, they would teach me. And because I'm like, I need two of them just to prepare for my own commitments. And they're 30, oh my God, was it $3,600 for one? And I was like, yeah, somebody just give me the skill set. I'll do it myself. Like, because I would much rather do it myself anyway.
You feel more proud about it too.
Yes, exactly. Oh, here is some elk hide. This is
Ooh.
the brain tan, hand tan, smoked elk hide.
I bet it smells so good. Oh my
God, it does.
goodness.
It does.
I love that.
I was like, I need to take a little clipping and anytime somebody buys something for me, like put it in a little like on something so they can, they can smell it too. Cause it's like it's medicine, you know what I mean? And it's like
It is.
because it's hand tan, that all that energy, all that traditional knowledge, and our our teachers didn't just do this just to make a fabric. They did it to teach you patience, I'm sure. Like, because that's a lot, patience, commitment. There's a lot that goes into like tanning and hand tanning. So if we're talking about branding and sustainability, I think like what you started out doing,
Mhm.
definitely go back to that. I mean, you already have like your foundational space, your tools for that. For me, I'm just I had to build up to this. I started with polyester print and readywear, but it was because I didn't come from, it's a community built brand. So starting with that gave me the seed money. So all the money I was making on the prints, I was putting back into the business and it slowly, people that were familiar with my prints, I, started incorporating like woven tags and then working on the branding and then pretty soon and now I have like different pieces now because it's kind of like it built up. I'm wearing one of my this is the first look of a vest that I have coming out, or maybe this is just one of one, I don't know, but it's a leather vest and I'm surprised I fit it. It feels a lot of couture because I didn't make this vest for myself. I made it for Kaylee Reese, who
Well,
starring in that film Mercy. And anyways, I was like, okay, I was like, feels a little couture. So I was like, I had to lose weight just to fit in this. And now I'm like, oh shoot, okay. Like I'm now and doing these things for myself, just being healthy, and if people can see like what we do in the meantime and how we're still working on our brand, we should do that. My sister's always like, if you go to the gym, just do that. I was like, nobody wants to see it. Like, yeah, because you're like, you're the face of your brand. It's how you live your life too and what you're doing. So
Yes.
like, learning how to tan hides, I would love to do that. Last summer I learned how to butcher a buffalo. I was there participating and it was really good. It felt really good. Like I felt useful. Right?
Oh, that was a beautiful memory, I'm sure, doing that. But yeah, I think social media right now is kind of so I created my account and grew it as an artist and being like, here's my art, here's my digital art, here's inspirational quotes, because I'm all about empowerment. Well, we came here to see your art, not to buy things. So it's interesting because I feel like social media is this constant changing game and that right now they're like flood the your accounts with content like post 2 times a day, be on your stories, do this little dance like and it's just like no, I just want to create art and present and it's really an interesting time, but social media you can see on TikTok people like take off because they found that niche and the audience. So I think it's interesting. I do think that you should post your workout. I want to see you work out.
And also like and not just like social media, but showing up, showing up in those rooms that are challenging to be in. Like I mentioned earlier, I think like going to SWAYA, going to any of the conferences because that's where you're networking and that's where you're getting to meet people. And I feel like if somebody can meet you and get to see like what you're passionate about and learn to support you, it's different because you don't know what's real and not real online. Like there's so much AI.
Yeah.
It's a little creepy. Like I'm not even I know like I seen like a AI. I put my image in the AI, then it like made it into like a person and I was like, that is creepy. I don't know, it's creepy. But there are benefits to using AI, and like in regards to like helping you to at least like formulate a template for something, a project. But there's nothing more valuable than meeting somebody in person,
Yeah.
because that is like an energy exchange. And we've gone so far away from that, especially with COVID. Like, it's just refreshing, to make time to go to these conferences, to make time to just go support somebody at an event, because you're always going to meet somebody, and I'm meeting people now in my home area, and I'm like, oh yeah, what are you wearing? And I'm like, I'm wearing my brand. Like, and they're like, that's your brand? I didn't know I had a brand. And I'm like, oh yeah, like it's this, and it's just like it's, you would think like, okay, if you're in here for 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, like, oh yeah, people already know, but they don't. They only know what you share and they only know what you post. And yeah. And even then, when you write something, it's like they presume it's going to be said this way when you could be all bubbly and be like, hey, good morning. And then they take it like, oh, she's all grumpy. Good morning.
That is funny. That's a great observation. But I think networking and being in these spaces is important. Like, I love just sitting here and having community with both you designers. It's so good because now people can, when we share it and goes online, people can see your perspective and see your insight and actually make a connection. Like, oh, when I see this brand, I'm gonna think of, Sun. So yeah, I think it's so good. And AI as a tool, I like to use it for like soundboarding or like this is what I'm thinking. Can you like check this against what's the current trend in blah blah blah, And that's how I kind of use AI, but I don't really like using it for like art or it, personally, I see an account that constantly uses um AI imagery. And as a graphic design artist, I always get like, because it's like you could have paid a native artist
Yeah.
to make that. But I'm not going to criticize them because I don't know where they're at. Maybe they don't have a budget to pay a graphic designer, or maybe they don't know that they could trade, they could trade whatever their product is with a graphic designer to say, hey, can you make me a logo and I'll give you X amount of product, because that's also I've done that before too, as a designer. But AI is interesting. We'll see when the next 3 years what happens with AI because it's all over now. It's everywhere.
I've been calling it out, like if there's an AI flyer
Uh-huh.
and like they all look the same, like it has the same look, but it's like a flyer for like an Indian event, and I'm like, now I know they could have asked somebody to make that flyer, like they didn't have to do the AI, so I'm automatically commenting, AI flyer, it's probably fake, it's a scam. Let the robots get you, fam. So I'm already like flat out like I guess calling that out. And
Uh,
I wonder like my boldness in stay warrior status and being warrior status is why I don't get the support that I need.
but to
You
me, I
know,
see you
like to
as
me
like
that's what
the
I'm like,
front liner. You're the
I
front.
gotta step back, I gotta not post frontline stuff so that my fashion and like the business part of it can be healthy because it's a weird headspace, right? Because I don't want to say anything, like I haven't really said anything in the past six 6 months when it's been real crazy for everybody to start saying stuff because I've been trying to more focus on like, okay, let's actually have some sales, like let's have a business, let's like be this sustainable like business person. And so I need guidance, let's just say that. Yeah, I need guidance because um I'm trying to get back into it, and but I never was like running officially. Like Kayla, like I look at you and I just have like such like you're a like a star, like
Mhm.
a shining star that's like leading us like we have our heading like
Yeah.
yes, like okay, I see you because I'm just kind of out there in the wilderness kind of just flopping around, like making stuff, but then like not getting seen. Like I've been in the game since 2012, but I haven't been written about. None of those curators included me in any of the fashion books or anything. So I'm like not known, but like I'm fighting so hard. And I feel like we're in this bubble as Indigenous people. We're in this like bubble of invisibility where like the world not ready. Like the algorithms, the AI and the algorithms aren't really sharing our stuff out there the way it needs to be shared. Yeah. So I feel like you're so successful, Kayla, in the way like I've seen you doing it and posting. Like it's so elegant and beautiful, like all your reels. And then like that's all we're getting from you. And
Yeah.
so it feels like very professional. Like I feel mine is like very unprofessional because it's like it'll be earring, model, earring, and then like prayer, front line, like all these protest things, and like I'm here at the march, like I'm here at the rally, and so um it's almost too much. I'm not focused enough. So I just like how you're representing, and it's very elegant, and like I actually like if you were to post gym stuff, that'd be cool, but like I'm expecting to see all those cool dresses and like even just
Yeah.
like the beadwork top white dress. Like I think you had it on the runway at the Res show, and it's like real slim. It's like a fully beaded top, but it's like so contemporary and modern and like a breath of fresh air and just like such a new like reigniting of a fire. Like wow, like that's great. Like that's awesome. Like reigniting this wanting to wear that because I don't think nobody really wants to wear beaded tops anymore, and nobody's like trying or representing their cultural identity. Like at one point, we'd be out on the prairie and we could see someone far away and like recognize their tribe right away. And so we don't self-identify like that either anymore either. And so yeah, you're just very inspiring, and I'm glad to know you and met you, Kayla.
Oh, thank you so much for your kind words. Like I'm like, you're gonna make me cry. No, I think honestly, it's just you have to literally like be brave and you gotta go against and you gotta go with that and that intuition. You know what I mean? Because I was like really scared to go into a lot of these spaces, but I made sure that I was in those spaces and that I did like the groundwork and I think it was just being approached I was just being met with like so much negativity that I was like, you know what? And we all kind of already know this, but if you say it, like there's nothing greater than love, you know what I mean? And like loving your enemy. And I remember somebody telling me that a long time ago, like they would feed their enemies or they would, I think about like that bravery, like that form of um I guess like that what being a woman is and like having that strong backbone. You know what I mean? And like that's what I did. I literally just like put myself in those spaces and I literally could envision myself like, okay, well, you're gonna close the door on me, I'm gonna kick in that door then, and then I'm gonna be here, and I did a lot. Like I went to I looked at some of the fashion things in Canada, I looked at all the shows, like where are the inspirational shows? And then you look up like who's running these, who makes the decisions to put people on the runway, and we get into that who's a part of it and who's not. And it's really difficult when it comes to like the concept of gatekeeping and you see it and it's so prevalent and you're like, well, you just got to look at it as like if it's not a part of who you are and your personal brand, then you got to stick to what is. And branding is so important and keeping like very consistent of, what warrior status is. What warrior status is. And I know what you're talking about when you're like, I'm too much for people like that. Fashion is my activism, because it's like people are either like you're that frontline warrior or you're like this romanticized warrior. You know what I mean? It's like they
Yeah.
don't know enough about people to be like it's either good or bad or it's this or that. It's one or the other. But just sticking to it. And a lot more people are really open to wanting to see somebody's progress in like their brand, and explaining. Like for me, I'm like, it would be really cool to be like mysterious and everything. I was like, but I just can't seem to be quiet. Like I just like putting everything out there, and just like talking about everything. And that's something I thought about in my brand when I was doing Written in the Stars and I was talking about like star knowledge. It reminded me that when I was in high school, I was the only person at Flandreau Indian School taking Lakota star knowledge. And then I started kind of getting like bullied for it a little bit because I was the only one going there. And then it was like, I don't know, people would say things that were like hurtful. And I felt like, I don't want to go there anymore then. I'm like the only one. So then I didn't go. But me designing and wanting to like be able to look up at the stars and be like, I want to know like where we are right now. You know what I mean? And like just that was my inspiration. It was like overcoming something that was weighing on me. You know what I mean? Like or like I was afraid of. And I find myself doing that more. If I'm afraid of something, I'm like, that means I definitely got to do it then. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just it's so important to just like stay course on your brand marketing and like what is my brand and brand identity and how people recognize you. And a lot of times you just got to step into that space and be like, "Oh, this is who I am," and like bring your business cards and like drop them all over. I swear, like I think I did that at Res. I was just like, "Oops," and they went around. Cards. But just little things like that is it's just it makes a difference because you're gonna see somebody, you're gonna meet somebody and they get to know your brand. And me, I'm like, I need your number. I'm like, I gotta come to Sioux City and we gotta tan some hides. And and it's just like it's so important to just be yourself and having people to understand, like, because you do have so much knowledge, and you have so much that you've already done. And it's like you come into this like matriarchal space almost, you know what I mean? And it's like, all right, now I gotta, whatever I can help you with. I mean, you can have my email, my number, we can share. And
Oh, thank you.
collaborations are always good. That's
Yeah.
it's one thing is like really networking and like showing like it's not about like me here, you there, anything. It's just like what can we do together or what are you doing? I'm not doing anything right now. I'm just I'm kind of like taking a break for this year. I wasn't going to release anything till like 2027.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I wanted to
Yeah.
talk
I
about
have
how
I
you
have
were
a
saying,
solo show coming up
You
in
do?
May here in Sioux City. I am in a gallery in the Ho Chunk building. It's like one of the tallest buildings in Sioux City, Ho Chunk building. So like in the bottom, it's an artist collective, and we all kind of pay rent on a wall to show it. But like the group like does all the shows, and they're like, we want to offer you a solo show. And I was like, really? Well, okay. And so I have my book that just recently came out. It's called Habitat Annihilation, where I wrote an essay about how Americans can restore their connections with Indigenous people. And I was like, let me do you one better. Let me help you restore your own connection to your own indigeneity because we're all from the planet Earth. So then I came out with the saying, go rematriate yourself. And like
oh, see that.
rematriate is like a word that came out a while ago. It's like not new to us, but there's a lot of newness in the audience. And so I have a shirt, and it's in Old English because if we're gonna do English, I'm gonna do it in their like traditional style of English. So I do only English writing, and it says "Go rematriate yourself." And it's just like a few baseball tees and things I've done. And man, it's so controversial. And I'm talking. I'm like talking so much about what that means and restoring connections and everything. And then at the end, it's like, yeah, buy this $35 shirt. Like I know it's like really simple. It's just like my screen print on it. But like, yeah, it comes with all this heavy like thoughts, and whoever wears it also has to have the knowledge to say enough to tell people what that means. So then I'm also creating a little toolkit. Like, and here's your toolkit of when people ask you what that means, because there's different
Little
levels.
snippet, like a card with a snippet on it.
Yeah, yeah.
A
And
little
so,
tag with the snippet,
yeah,
pin it on the shirt.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
cool.
And so go rematriate yourself. And here I'm gonna get real controversial, and then this might be the last thing. um, so many non-natives asked me, what does that mean? Go rematriate yourself. And we're in this time space of immigration. And so why was it during Ellis Island that anybody who stepped off the boat took off their jacket of ancestry, took off their jacket of culture, and decided not to honor their grandmas, their grandpas, and even change their name, right? And then pick up this white cloak of supremacy
Uh-huh.
and start calling themselves white and uplifting this white supremacist, capitalistic, extractive culture for the past 250 years. So I need you to go rematriate yourself so
Um,
that you can be a land defender and water protector as well. I need you to remember your warrior status, because we need you to stand up and fight and be aware of our um, land, life, and pursuit of happiness as human beings. And so, uh, warrior status is a brand that, like, you know, I want to push all that verbal thought process. And how does it come out in clothes? You
uh-huh.
know, and so part of the branding was, yeah, being that sustainable, not doing polyester and like dead things and stuff. So it's a struggle. It's a weird space because normal brands aren't like that.
Yeah.
Like nobody's really like pushing an alternative agenda. Like, I have an agenda. I need warriors. Like, I need all the warriors of the earth to come together and stand for so many issues. But my happiness is definitely in being able to design and wear stuff. So I'm also doing champion jackets, the Letterman's jackets, and that's my power culture influence as well. Like, because people would embroider jackets, and you'd be, come a running and champion first place, and you get that jacket. So I'm like doing all these one of a kind, and I'm also doing my own heat transfers from my artwork. So it's my ledger art heat transferred onto upcycled champion jacket, so that I can, in my version, it's like the Bumbas socks. Like, you purchase one of mine because I'm gonna gift like two away.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
that's how I would like to be, or that's like my Lakota woman, like
Yeah.
part of my Wopila of like uplifting our other tribal people and stuff. So I wish I could be like I need the business plan that'll help me get there, because I'd love to show up to like our powwow and like give like 100 things away. So
Uh-huh.
eventually, like, that's my goal of like giving away. Like, I really just want to be like, here, wear this. This is this. Yeah, I just want to like dress the people, because optics are really everything, especially when we're on the front line too. And then we're showing up in sweats and we're not like looking Indian. And these are like the front lines are some of the places where they first see us. So when we dress up nice, we are counting coup on their spirit, on their soul. And actually that's why I became a fashion designer too, because I'd see white bald men white bald men like really like give our young warriors this like stank eye, like and fear. Like they'd see our young warriors, we're all done up, we got earrings on, we're dressed nice, we got Indian clothes on, and they see us and it's like, a shock of what? We didn't kill them all? What? There's Indians still alive? Like what? Like better grab your land deed. Like there's a fear in there. So I like to do fashion. I like to be able to dress our young men looking real nice and fierce and fresh enough that people look at them and they're like, what? Wow, they really do exist. So
I love that.
I love all fashion designers who are like doing it for all the people because I know they feel that too. That county coup on their
I'm like sitting here like, yes.
I know, right?
Yeah.
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 No, I understand that term. When I first rematriate, I had rematriate medicine, and it was reintroducing our not traditional medicines, but healthy like echinacea, bee pollen, like all these different medicines we've used that were from the land. So your concept of like warrior status and rematriate, it might be cool to be like a how can I put it? Maybe if you did like rematriate and then like here I am. Like kind of thing, like having people accept rematriation. Because when we force people to like, here we go, like, I just want to
Yeah.
like, I'm going to push this on you. It's kind of like we're doing exactly what they taught us to do, is to lead with like, I don't know, like force, anger, destruction, conquer, that's what I think about it. And I'm like, how do we, and that's kind of like been something that consistently is on the back of my mind is like, I'm not trying to force anything on anybody in my own perspective. I think it's important that they know about it and they learn about it and how do they support it without, and it's like, that's what you say. It's like such a fine line because it's like, dang, then if I have to, you know, um, just like build it to fit them, am I being digestible? You know what I mean? It's like, then I become like too digestible. Then we're like, oh, okay, poor you, your feelings are hurt. Here you go. So, I know I understand like that struggle of like wanting to like be. I think if you like ran with that concept of like front line, that's really cool. Like I love like the varsity concept and like what people see on the front lines and who who they're representing. It helps give them a sense of pride too, you know what I mean? And a sense of like warrior status because if you're explaining to them like I made this jacket for you, it's uplifting them. You know what I mean? This jacket is meant to be worn by people that, carry integrity, that have like, that want to serve and protect, and what that means. So I love that. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for sharing, both of you. I just wanted to go back to the gatekeeping thing because I'm coming into fashion that
Okay.
because son, you're gonna see this too because I've gone in these spaces and then all of a sudden people are kind of like very gatekeepy and I felt like my feelings were hurt because I came in like yay, this is gonna be awesome. I love fashion. Let's do this. And then some people were kind of like, I don't know. Anyways, but the thing, instead of getting my feelings hurt, I should just respect. Like, I am in these spaces, but I also took away, like, I'm still an artist. I still have conversation to add, and it didn't, now I'm aware, like, okay, just be mindful, go in network, like Kayla said, make sure that you're having conversation with everybody. Don't take any sides, don't have any opinion, just hi, I'm here. I love your art. Here's my art. So that way there's no expectation because I think I went in with an expectation like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And then I got my feelings hurt. And I was like, okay, blind. So, and the other thing is closed mouths. My slogan lately is closed mouths don't get fed. And also, perfection is the enemy of progress because I keep closed mouths don't get fed. So now I'm reaching out to different media and like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Can we talk about like me getting in your media space? And so far it's been positive. So I think that before I was like, oh, I hope somebody sees my stuff, but now it's like, no, I got to be proactive. I got to be like, this is what I'm doing. And now I have to make a media packet. That's the next step. Media packet to send to people. Like, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is my brand. And so it's interesting. It's a very interesting journey as an entrepreneur and an artist. So I just wanted to add that, like, closed mouth don't get fed. So we got to be out there talking.
Here's another one. Comparison is the killer of joy.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So that one.
I wanted to, so let's start to wind down and wrap. And I have just enjoyed this space talking with you, but I don't want to take up your whole day. So even though I probably could, is there anything you'd like to promote?
Promotion wise, I mean, if people could support me by going to my website, K.Lookinghorse.com, you can subscribe to my emails. I haven't put out an email in a minute, but when I do, you're in the loop.
Yeah, okay.
And same, you can go to my website. It's sunroseironshell.com. Right now, because it's my birthday, I have a little code. It's a Wopila 50. You get 50% off my print brand stuff.
Wait, is it your birthday? When is your birthday? Today?
Yesterday. It was yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. It was really cool. I got my nails did and did the
I
whole
like thought I was gonna sing you happy birthday, but I was like, I don't really sing, so sorry.
I'll take it though. Yeah, I'll take that
Happy birthday. I like started. I was like, oh shoot, I'm live. I really don't sing, but
And if I were to promote anything, I do a radio show that airs in Los Angeles called Be a Better Relative. It was a concept from Albert Whitehat in the Rosebud Res, who's one of our Lakota language teachers.
Yeah.
So we talk about MMIW and climate change, and I'm always throwing fashion in there. But it's just a 30-minute radio show that's on Tuesdays at 7:30 on 90.7 KPFK. So you can catch my activism voice there for sure.
I thought you had like a radio voice. I was like, man, this woman has like a radio voice, like just the way you like say things. I'm like, that's cool. Okay.
We've been on air. Actually, February this month is our 4-year anniversary of having the radio show.
Wow.
So,
congratulations.
with this administration, though, they might cancel us. We were at an hour, and then he's in office, and they cut us to half an hour. But we're the only Indigenous women radio show in the whole station of KPFK 90.7. So LA, if you do anything out in LA, hit me up, and we'll talk on the radio show about it because it airs in Los Angeles.
That's cool. Okay. Well, I manufacture in LA, so
yeah,
I have to come down there and get my stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so good to conversate with everybody, and I think we touched on a lot of good topics. All I have to say is like just be yourself authentically, unapologetically, and just don't even like pay attention to what people say. Just watch what they do. That's
that's a good one
for today.
Yes. Okay, cool. So now I have 3 rapid fire questions. You have a few seconds to answer. Ready? Okay, son. What is your go-to comfort food?
Jalapeno, pickled jalapenos and popcorn.
Yeah. Kayla?
Popcorn.
Ooh, okay. What makes you smile the most, son?
Oh, my cats, my little guy. My little guy dancing. Say that one.
I know I should say my family, but peanut butter cookies.
Ooh, I love that. Okay, what is a must-have clothing every person should have, son?
Oh, I guess my hat. I'm wearing my hat.
Uh-huh.
Some strings. The hat, the earrings, for sure.
Okay.
A blazer, my blazer, the heritage blazer.
Ooh,
there you go.
I love it. Well, ladies, this has been divine. I have absolutely loved every second of this conversation. It's important. You're important. Everybody go check them out. Buy something. Send Sun some coffee or something for her birthday. Just get it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Find the peace in the chaos, breathing deep. Meditate on the good in your heart, keep. Pray to the Creator. Let your spirit